We start our journey in a hangar of some sorts with a covered something that looks like to be a ship of some kind. Military men are expecting this object. Now, this wasn't any object. Her name was the X-20, an experimental interceptor ship that made a crash landing in the Mojave Desert after a 31-hour flight and 9 miles into space. But here's the funny part. The men who flew her disappeared from the radar for 24 hours. Now, 2 nurses head down a hallway and run into Lieutenant Colonel Clegg Forbes. The lieutenant seems a bit nervous and asks the nurse to see his co-pilot, Major William Gart. Forbes walks into the room to see his co-pilot, who has suffered a broken leg. Gart bitches for a bit and asks questions about the ship's crew, and of course, in Twilight Zone fashion, the lieutenant pulls out some cigarettes and they enjoy that together in a hospital room. But the lieutenant seems puzzled and nervous. He wants to ask Major Gart some questions. Lieutenant Forbes does not really understand why he walked out alone from the hospital the day before and shows a newspaper headline that says only 2 spacemen returned from the crash. Lieutenant Forbes does not know why there's only 2 people in this picture. Lieutenant does not understand why Major Gart only remembers those 2 on the ship. Forbes tries to explain to him that there were 3 men on that aircraft. He names the third as Colonel Harrington, who happened to be Forbes' best friend, but Gart does not remember him at all. He tells him that there were 3 beds in that room the day before, and he and Harrington were dismissed. Major Gart emphatically denies knowing Harrington or having a third person on their flight. Forbes frantically describes what he remembers that day before, but Major Gart thinks he does need help, some serious psychiatric help. We then proceed to a flashback on the day before. The mysterious Lieutenant Harrington is now in the room playing around and joking with Major Gart. They joke with him for a while and leave the hospital room, but not before they see the newspaper that reads, 3 spacemen return from crash all alive. The 2 men then end up in a bar. The bartender recognizes them as the men that returned from outer space and waves that giant 30 cents a beer tab for the celebrity that they are. Harrington sees something that bothers him immensely as his drunken friend leans over, taking a bit of time from his fornication plans. Harrington starts acting very strangely, even breaking one of Doc Wagner's 10 Commandments, "Thou shalt not droppeth lager." Harrington explains that he does not feel like he belongs there. Harrington goes over to call his folks. Then he summons Clegg over to the phone booth, revealing to him that his parents had no idea who he was. Harrington then states he feels that they shouldn't be there, that they should not have come back from that flight at all. Forbes leaves the phone booth and picks up a newspaper that reads, 2 spacemen return, and Harrington is gone out of this picture. And he's also gone out of the bar. All remnants of Harrington are gone. His beer that he left behind, the bartender knowing him, even the girl on the side of him, nobody knows who he was. The bartender tells the colonel that he came into the bar alone. He then loses it for a bit and heads out the door. The colonel smokes in his hotel room, looking a bit frazzled, when there's a knock at the door. It's his wife, Amy. Amy's a little upset with him at this point because he's all over the map with everything. Amy has no idea who Harrington is either, even though they were all best friends at one time. So he realizes that he sent a telegram earlier in that day. So he's going to find this telegram, but yet the telegram he finds says just him alone. No Harrington mentioned at all. He hugs Amy and doesn't know what to think about this whole thing. He then gets a phone call from the higher ups where he asks about Ed Harrington, and everyone does not know an Ed Harrington. He then starts really losing it and starts proclaiming that he knows that this is a gag. It must be a ruse. Something. Nope, it's not. He takes off and heads to that bar to find Ed Harrington, but he bangs on the door and breaks into the glass. That's right, the glass again. He walks around while calling his friend's name. He even goes into the phone booth and cries. That's right, broken glass and a phone booth, same scene. Welcome to the Twilight Zone. The flashback then ends We go back to the colonel in the hospital room, where he delivers a confused, somber monologue, but the major tells him he still has never heard of Ed Harrington. Somberly, the colonel states that he believes Ed has been yanked out of this realm, taken away. He then looks in the mirror and sees no reflection of himself and runs out of the hospital room frantically. Major Gart looks down the hallway for his superior and friend, but no one is in the hallway besides a nurse. He yells out to the nurse and tells her to find his friend, that she has no clue who he is talking about. And then it's revealed when he walks back into his hospital room, there is only one bed now. Started with 3, then 2, now 1. And the major shakenly goes back to bed to see a newspaper that reads, "Lone Spaceman completes journey and lands in the desert." That's right, Lone Spaceman. Terrified, he lays back down. We then see a major with a nurse walking down the halls of the hospital. They check out the room to reveal it's now completely empty. Yes, the same room the 3 men were in before is now empty. Then there's a shot of the hangar where we saw the covered ship, which is now no longer there. And there it was. And there we are. Buck Wonder and Doc Wagner here. That's right. And we're talking about And When the Sky Was Open. Doc, talk about the actors that are in here.
Let us delve into the realm of these performers, exploring their talents and unraveling their intricacies on this stage of shadows and light.
We basically have 3 major ones, right? I mean, that's pretty much.
We do. And one of these days, I'm not going to be choppy. I'm just going to give it to you.
There you go. Spit it right out.
3 main actors. The main actor, Forbes, is a man by the name of Rod Taylor. Rod Taylor is an all-star. We know him from a lot of roles. His first role was a short in 1951 called Island with Strut. His last role, he was in a Quentin Tarantino movie, kind of cool. He was in 2009's Inglourious Bastards.
Really?
Yeah. I believe he played Churchill. But hey, he was in The Time Machine, and this is my only reference of this show. He was in The Birds with Hitchcock.
Madam?
Hey, wait a minute. I don't know you.
But I know you.
He lent his voice to the classic 1001 Dalmatians. I'm sorry, even 101 Dalmatians. They haven't gotten to 1001.
1001, yeah. Well, you know how we go reproducing nowadays.
That's true. That's true. I guess with inflation, they went to 1001. And Gart, the man on the bed, his name is James Hutton. And the last name sounds familiar because that is actor Timothy Hutton's father.
Interesting.
Looks a little bit like him.
Yeah, I guess when you're saying that, yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. I knew the actor, but I didn't know that was. I mean, how many Huttons are there? I guess
True. Hollywood. Yeah, Lauren Hutton. There's I don't know, but
yeah, but yeah, but it's the same family, right?
You know what? That's a fun fact I can't give out right now.
Not right now, and I'll cut it if you're wrong.
You are not.
But Timothy Hutton is his son.
Okay.
His first role was in 1956, The Big Attack: Combat Heroes of World War II. And his last role was in a TV movie called Butterflies in 1979. He was in Where the Boys Are. It was kind of a cool beach movie. The Green Berets. He has his own TV show called Ellery Queen.
Sorry that we bored you.
Oh, no. Not really. It was an excellent show.
Which, honestly, I never watched it, but it's kind of like a private eye kind of thing. Might try to stream it. Looks pretty interesting.
Okay.
Our third actor played Harrington, the first man to disappear, we'll say. Charles Adaman. His first role was in the 1952 Goodyear Playhouse series. His last role was in 1992 episode of Garfield and Friends.
Well, it took him long enough to discover my natural talent.
Where he was the narrator.
Wow.
He has a kind of a cool twist with the Twilight Zone. He served as the narrator for the first season in the reboot, in the 80s reboot.
Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension.
Really?
Yeah. And he was it's his first of 2 Twilight Zone episodes in the original. But this guy was everywhere in the 60s. He was on Van Dyke, Andy Griffith, Wagon Train. Always go back to Wagon Train.
I gotta watch that sometime.
We did see him on Quincy. So shout out to your boy Jack Klugman.
Jack Klugman.
Magnum. So those are our 3, and I think it was those are our 3 main actors. A lot of good supporting actors in this one as well, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's so funny when you find out about these things. We talk about it all the time, but I'll say it again. Like they're just very professional actors afterwards. It's not like nowadays, and the last 20 years, really. I mean, there's some that pop up everywhere, but there's very few. You know what I mean? Like there's people that are like, what happened to him? And he's working at a Trader Joe's down the street. Shout out to Trader Joe's because I know Doc loves that place. And also
Guilty.
I believe I don't know who it was. Somebody can tell us in the comments below. There was a guy that was working at Trader Joe's and he had to quit because they released that he was working at Trader Joe's. And it's a pretty big.
Oh shoot. Yeah. I think it was somebody from like the 90s, like an actor who was in a TV show or something from the 90s. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
After being job shamed over this photo working at Trader Joe's grocery store.
How you doing, Alvin?
Hi, Dr. Espel.
All right.
I forget, but yeah, just the businessman, like as I like to call it, like you're there and we see all these credits that they did. So it was just a job. And it's like, hey, I'm going to be on the Zone set for, and we'll get to the filming dates, but 5 days, 2 days of rehearsal, 3 days of filming, and then on to the next job. And you're not there to mess around. You're there for a job, go to the next one. So to your point of very professional. Yeah, they have to be.
It is a funny thing because being an actor is a ridiculously insane thing to do. And I'll be honest, because of the fact of, people don't realize when you make, and I've been down this road, you can make, say somebody will look at you and be like, wow, you just made $20,000 for that month of work. Just say like, wow,
you might not get another month.
Might not work another year. Right. So, I mean, these are the people that realize what it is. And they just move forward. And then I booked a gig here. I booked a gig here. I booked a gig here. And they're constantly working. They have jobs just like, we all do out there that are listening. Most of us that, you're going in and you're working like 4 days a week. Sometimes they make more, sometimes they make less, and they're just making a living. You're
working for your next job, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And then once you show that you're just a quality worker, and you're not trying to do anything else or causing trouble or being whatever, then they're just like, bring that guy in. He can come and do this role.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, this guy's got whatever. He's a wagon train.
That's what you want. But that's what you want. Even as an actor nowadays, that's what they should want. Any young actors out there, listen to me right here, is when you get that U5, which is the under 5, work it up and be like, you can play that part on, how many people were in Law and Order, right? That were people that were convicted. And probably if you looked at those people, they're probably in 50 other things afterwards.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't like they got rich. Not like they're famous because of it.
No, but the guy who played the bartender, the helpful bartender in a Law and Order, 2 lines.
Yeah, exactly. And they know your worker. They know your work. So anyway, I digress.
That's okay. We all
digress or depress. One of the two.
Stupid anti-pimping laws. Well, pay the man.
Bender, honey, we love you.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
2 for 1.
All right. So let's go into right now then. That's interesting about the actors. So let's go into, we talk about actors. Let's go into who we would put in these roles, our casting call.
And I am ready for my shot, Mr. DeMille.
Ready with the shot, Mr. DeMille.
All right.
Nice. All right. So, Doc, do you want to start this one off? Or you want me to?
I'll go. Yeah, I know you've got a good one. I don't know, but you told me I'd appreciate it, so I'll lead off. I usually go a little obscure, and had a couple people tell me that in on X. So went a little this way. I went a little bit on the mainstream again, not who Hollywood would put in, but who I'm going to put in. For Forbes, who is the main lead, I have Timothy Olyphant.
Okay.
Justified, Santa Clarita Diet. He's been in a lot. Those are the only two I can think of off the top of my head for some reason. But he's an all-star actor, character actor, like we all love.
He went. If I'm thinking of the right person there. I was just trying to look him up, but I couldn't really find it because I didn't spell his name right. But I think I know who I'm talking about now.
I don't think he knows how to spell his name. There's like an S and a Y and a P and a T.
He was an off-Broadway guy, though, right? I think he was an off-Broadway guy when I was young.
Yeah, he's about our age.
I'm actually doing a play at the Atlantic right now. Not right now. Right now I'm hanging with you, but like today's our day off. But tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, so I want to say he was an off-Broadway guy when I was almost a little later off-Broadway guy. So yeah, I think he was. I could be. I mean, I think he made his rounds. I think he paid his dues.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Now he's an A-lister now. For Gart, the James Hutton role, and this actually, I don't generally go on a look per se. I look for an actor, but one look, I think, and I see Colin Hanks in that role. Looks very.
Oh, that's a good one. He did do
looks similar, and has that just has the big eyes that could just pull off that last scene, and we'll get into that. But just everything about him screams to me Colin Hanks.
That's a good one. Oh, solid actor. I mean, you want nepotism on him, but he does well. A
little bit, but I liked his role, Dexter.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he really should. Yeah.
Hello, whore.
Yeah, he was, I don't know, like fourth season of Dexter, so I liked that. Kind of played a little bit not his typical role. Now for Harrington.
I thought Doc was going to say Orange County. I believe he was in Orange County. I know you probably never seen that, huh, Doc?
Actually, I did.
I lived in Orange County, so
I know. I saw you. I stayed at your place in Orange County.
It's true.
We went to the racetrack. For a little behind the scenes of Buck and Doc there. We drove all around Orange County.
Yes, we did.
For Harry. And this is a kid who he's actually making the rounds big time now. Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh.
He's the guy who
I almost used him. I did. I almost used him. I didn't.
Wow. Yeah, he played. Yeah, you know who he is. He played Zuckerberg. He's writing. Apparently
he's got the same cadence, really, in everything he does. It's the only thing.
Yeah,
that's
he does. But that scene, the telephone booth scene, was Harrington's biggest scene, and I think that just that dialogue there, Eisenberg could do it. Those are my three.
All right. Oh, those are good. I like those. It's funny because I think you were on the same page as me when we were thinking, but I went a little twist trying to be just the goofball that I am. So I'm going to
Good.
The first one I'll go with our main guy there, right? Forbes, right? This our main guy, we'd say, right?
Yep.
Forbes. I'm going to go with Damian Lewis from right from Homeland, and kind of looks like him too. I feel like he reminded me a lot.
Yeah, he's
got
like
Band of Brothers. He's always kind of got that thing going on. It reminds me of a guy I know that I actually acted with. Shout out to John Wentz. Kind of reminds me of him a lot, and I would have put him in there, but I know everybody else would know Damian Lewis. But the first one to disappear, I want that to be Mark Wahlberg, and that's because there's nothing more than I'd like for Mark Wahlberg to disappear. And I don't know who else out there feels like that, but
you do just give us a like.
If you do. And if you don't, I don't care because and I'll tell you Mark Wahlberg's story at some point. And I really just don't think he's very good. I know you're gonna tell me. I liked him in Fear. Yes,
Mr. Walker. Mr. Walker.
I liked him in Fear, but it
was a great role. He should have
I'm so sick of, listening to somebody who talks like they just ran around the building twice. I don't know if that's his thing. And I also, and also it's a little bit, I'd say not personal, but I do know like he's just not a good human being from like what I've heard about him before.
Because I'm a crook.
Well,
I actually know a story about a guy. I think I told you. I have a friend who like he's like greenlit. Like if he sees Mark Wahlberg, and he would beat the hell out of Mark Wahlberg, would do it. And he's an actor as well, but because he blinded a kid he knew, like because he was a little punk, because he was a poor kid from Dorchester. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I wasn't a poor kid when my dad, my big brother was in New Kids on the Block. How bad you have it, Mark? How bad, bro? No one wants to tell you this. I'll say it out loud. How tough was it for you when Big Bro was in New Kids on the Block? Come on now. I'm from the Northeast as well, and I came up in a poor town. Mark, we can talk. That's all I'm saying. If you can see me, step up. I mean, literally, step up.
Well, he might have to. Have a stool. Buck's a pretty big guy. Mark might have to get on a step stool.
But anyway, I digress. But yes, Mark Wahlberg. And listen, I'm going commercial with it, and it would work. It would work. I'm just I went totally like the first person to disappear.
I don't know if he could figure out a payphone.
Oh, that's true. He would. I don't know what I'm doing over here. I have a payphone in my hand, and I don't know. Look at me. Do I get an Oscar yet? No. All right. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, I might have to cut that part. By the way, I might.
Fun facts.
Fun facts.
Fun fact: I was rejected from Scientology. So.
Fun facts. All right. We, like most episodes and all we have seen thus far, 3 days to film this. They filmed it on July 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, 1959. So it was a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They did the rehearsal on Monday and Tuesday. Boom. And then they're done. And then literally the next Monday, they started for the next episode. Just 5 days. Wait, what? That just still amazes me that they can do this. And they film in 3 days, and they put it in the can. It was aired December 11th, 1959. And going to start something new. And in this, we always talk about our fun facts and our wonderful book, our big Bible here.
There it is.
Twilight Zone. There it is. Gives us so many cool things, and this is the only place that I can find it. Total production cost of this episode was a shade over $43,000, and that's in 1959.
Whoa! Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and you think about it, and this is actually one of my fun facts. There wasn't really many special effects in this.
Do you know why? I mean, would the actors pay that? Would these big? I mean.
It was a lot. It was a lot with the actors. It was a lot of like below the line items. Yeah. And Serling didn't write this one. But yeah, it was a lot of in the cast. I mean, you really had the 3 stars, and I can get that payment for them. But yeah, 43. That seemed like
Seems
a
like
lot to you?
a real lot back then, because we looked at the other ones and you talked about the other ones. They were relatively less. I mean, you're talking
Yeah,
about what's
yeah,
his name?
it's
Oh God! On the second one, they're getting $5,000. Most of the budget. Yeah,
Bookman,
Bookman
yeah.
getting $5,000, and that was most of the budget, really. I mean, and that was
Right.
studio. Maybe it was a special effects for back then. You know, the hanger. I guess shit will add up.
Believe what Steven said. He said he's no good at math. I don't get it. I can't just like activate Asian power.
You know, they get caught doing when people talk about distribution is when you make a distribution deal, right? They're like, we'll give you this amount when you make this much, but you don't realize you're dealing with companies. Say you're dealing with an MGM or something like that you rent this studio from, right? And then so they charge you in a weird amount that you're renting from, so they're getting that profit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're paying them. Yeah.
I wonder how much of that 43,000 went to just MGM, like what the real cost was, not them inflating stupid charges for themselves, because that's what they do. And hey, welcome to America. I mean,
welcome to Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. So I wonder, but interesting. That was interesting. We went off on a tangent about that.
Yeah, no, it's always some wild stuff. Another one that Rod did not write. Richard Matheson wrote this, but he also his biggest claim to fame, or one of his biggest claims to fame, I should say, is he wrote I Am Legend, which is kind of awesome. Not a good movie starring your friend Will Smith.
Change up.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
It was all in your mind. I watched he gave a couple interviews on this particular episode, and it was mostly to colleges. In one interview, he said regarding the quick disappearance of Gart at the end, and there was a reason for it. He explained that in a lecture that without his fellow astronauts to anchor him to this world, he had no way of holding on. And it furthered the idea that Rod Taylor, Forbes, his denial kept him in the world. And having heard the story of Harrington's disappearance and seeing Forbes taken out, that Gart had no way to deny the possibility. So that's why he disappeared. And in another interview, this was actually on the Blu-ray. Man, how much do you miss Blu-rays and DVDs? Because you get all these extras. We don't see that anymore with streaming things, right?
And stuff. Yeah.
So, and this is on YouTube. Just this extra scene. There's an extra for this episode, and Rod gives a speech, and he says the core of this story is accepting the idea that someone or something doesn't want those men to be of this earth. And you have to accept that, or you're not going to like the episode. You actually have to suspend your disbelief.
Shut up.
No. Yeah, it is weird because like hearing this now, and I told you, Doc, I went into this like open-minded in the sense of being like, let me watch this again.
Sure.
And thinking about like my weird ass mind that I have.
I think if you don't watch anime, you're weird. How about that?
And I was wondering, and I was going to ask you what Rod said about this, because this would be one episode I'd really want to ask him about.
Yeah, apparently he really liked it. The lack of special effects he liked, and at one point you can hear footsteps. For whatever reason, he really liked. He heard the footsteps in the actual hospital room. Sterling really liked that for some reason.
I think the lack of special effects was good. I think it made sense. That makes total sense. Like I hate when they overblow things with special effects. Leave it to your imagination, number one. And number two, if this was happening,
you're concentrating more on the actors.
Well, and if it was happening, something of this situation, it would be vague and subtle. Because subtlety would be just What do you mean? I don't know that person, or just they're gone, or the thing special effect is the newspaper changing. Like that's the simplicity of it. I mean, that's I think
Right.
we lose that in a lot of stuff now. And the ones that do it, and they do it nowadays. Don't think I'm knocking everything nowadays. They do it. Yeah. Leave it to the actors. Leave it to people's imagination. You don't write. They used to say when you write, and I went over this, I know in one of our other shows, like you don't announce everything you're doing writing, but you don't look at it like you're writing to a bunch of, because a lot of times nowadays I feel like they're writing and explaining and showing things to a bunch of like kindergartners, right? I mean, everything's like boom in your face, this and that. There's nobody thinking, and it's lost a lot of value of like let people think when they're there. Isn't that one of the reasons we go to have this escape is to still use our mind? There's brain candy stuff that we just want to watch things blow up and do whatever in your face. But there's also like when we're talking about things like this, it's a thinking process.
But it's we talk about it. You spoke about it last episode, or one of the last episodes in The Lonely, and I think we need to have a why is Rod such a genius segment. And I'm going to get on my soapbox here and say he was a genius because he did not have to explain outside of where is everybody, which we discussed, where he had to have the general explain what was going on. This is this one, and we're going off course, but this is so Twilight Zone where you have to use your imagination. It's not handed to you, like you said, Buck, on a silver platter. It's not a superhero running around and explaining things. It's okay. Well, I'm on Earth. I know what's going on. All right. Well, this is going on. This is what's going on with these astronauts or whoever they are. It's kind of interesting, and we'll see where it goes.
And that's what separates books from screen, right? When you're really good at screen, really good at books, you're just scripted. You have to be, right? They're not watching
Yes.
it. But it's such a hard thing to do. When people get best director or somebody's like, oh, that guy's a great director. Think about 9 out of 10 people don't know what they're talking about in a sense of being like, they just know he's done really cool movies that they like. Right. And maybe they're like, oh, he shoots fast scenes and whatever it might be. But when you think about, I mean, the director's thing is so much. It's so much. It's a lot. And the writer, the director, when they can tell a story from when you hear these stories of some directors out there and writers, I'm sure put it in their scripts, things like that, where you look at the background and people are always going right to left, right? They're always going right to left, and you don't notice it, but you subconsciously do. But that's in there. Or somebody does something and they pick up a spoon with one hand. Like as an actor, you learn that stuff too. Like there's a meaning behind what you're doing, and you're not saying it out loud. You're not telling people you're left-handed. You're showing people you're left-handed. You're making them think about, oh, he did that because he's left-handed, like later on.
Yeah.
Like something
Because you might pick it up in a later scene.
Exactly. And I mean, the left-handed thing is just a silly, analogy.
No,
to it.
I understood. Yeah.
But yeah, and Rod Serling really was.
Shut up!
We talked about David Lynch the other day. To me, he tried the same thing, but to me, he lost me a lot. I was like, he's just making stuff up and letting people interpret it. But I guess he probably wasn't. He probably wasn't. He probably was a genius in his own way. I didn't get a lot of his stuff, but that's me.
Yeah, I wasn't in the advanced school of film. So yeah, I'm with you, Buck. I liked some of his stuff, but I think I didn't get some of David Lynch's stuff. But
I used to. I don't want to speak ill of the dead because I hate doing that, but I'm always like, was he just
throwing
too
smart for us?
Wall once he got a reputation of something, being like, I'm just going to throw it at a wall? I don't believe Rod Serling ever did that, and that's my point. I'm not trying to bash.
No, because and we'll talk more as we. I mean, gosh, we're only we're on episode 11, believe it or not.
This is 11.
So we have a lot to. We still have a lot to go, but. What do you think? You want to talk? You want to do symbolism? You want to?
Let's go into it. Let's go symbolism.
Yeah. Symbolism is just too delicious.
Well, symbolism, Doc. I think we just hit on it. I think
that's the point.
I have to keep that in now. By the way, with my editing, the symbolism. I personally was finding things of the Yeah, the footsteps in an alternate plane when they showed the thing that wasn't there,
Tarmac.
yep, wasn't there anymore, right? Was it the
Yeah.
aircraft
Yeah.
wasn't there anymore. I was symbolism was that like things are there, but they're not there, almost like a ghost. I feel like they were ghosts and then going through a plane. I did. I thought like it's an alternate universe thing. Hearing what he was saying,
Yeah.
what it was, wherever they went when they went up in space, they really went away and they came back, but they weren't really supposed to be on this planet.
They weren't supposed to come back.
Exactly. And then when they did come back, it was on a different level. I've had this thing. You want to go really weirdly deep right here? I'm going to do it right now. I always have this thing where when I was a kid, I used to think I shouldn't give this away. This would be a Rod Serling thing right here. That when nobody really dies, this is in my world, right? Nobody really dies. What they do is like if you knew somebody who died when they were a kid. I went through a lot of kids dying when I was young. Oddly enough, with teenagers, but I always thought like maybe they didn't die and they just were on somewhere else. And I'm there too on that other plane. And you know what I mean? Like people just go and they keep moving on. And there's a 65-year-old version of somebody I lost when I was 16 that's out there right now. Not that I'm 65, so that didn't make much sense.
Close.
But yeah, pretty much. But you know what I'm saying? So I feel like when you talk alternate universes, which became newer, I would say. We talk about it more. We talk about these parallel universes, alternate
Yeah.
universes,
Yeah.
ghosts, things like on other planes. Um, so to me, that was like what I thought when I was a kid. Like they went up there, they never came back, weren't
Right.
supposed to come back, but they came back like a part of them came back, but they were like, no, you're supposed to be here. And they pulled them back over. I mean, I know that sounds really silly and everybody
No,
really
not at
confused
all.
what you said, but
Interesting concept.
The other thing I was thinking, and this was a good episode. It made me think a lot, and it made me think about the writers and the time that this was written. Do you think it had anything to do with servicemen? We all know that Rod Serling was in the war, paratrooper in World War II, as were a lot of folks back then. Making themselves known back into the public, saying after the war, hearing that some of their voices aren't necessarily heard, and they can't go back to their lives before the war, and maybe Matheson was trying to say say something about that, and with the teleplay that Rod did, could add something to do with it. They return home and life is continuing like never before. But these guys who were in World War II are coming back like shell shocked, as they called it back then, PTSD, like what's going on, and they're not necessarily ready for the world. It's just a different take on that, and they were servicemen, and who knows. And the other thing I was thinking is censors. Maybe the writers, Matheson, can't get what he's saying out because of censors. Just it's yeah. I have you to thank, Buck.
I get censored all
I'm
the
digging
time.
deep.
Don't censor me. And don't take my words out of context.
Yes. But yeah, no. This is the service. Just what unfortunately what happened to a lot of people in the wars. Um, they can't go. They can't fit back into society. When we saw that afterwards, obviously in Vietnam as well.
Well, Doc, on that note, I mean, what we just went over before, I mean, I think you're right on it. Of you gotta, I mean, Rod Serling was a paratrooper. Now, not all the people that came back from war that experienced probably like war. Not that if you were in war, whatever, like a battle war, people getting killed around you, bullets flying by your head, everything, jumping down out of plane, all that awful, terrible stuff that you might have to do. There's got to be part of you that, like I kind of said when I was a kid, what I would think, am I not really here? Did I not come back? because now you're not being seen, right? Like you said, your
Right.
voice isn't being heard. Not that you think you're there, but maybe there's got to be part of you being like, I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, I
shouldn't
did
be around.
all this stuff. I almost got killed. I saw people get killed in the most gruesome way.
I should be dead.
And now
I
I'm
should
at
be
a
dead.
bar. Now I'm at some bar talking to some woman.
I wonder anybody out there that is ex-military or even anything really where you had, I'm sure you hear people that, have like death experiences or should have died. And I mean, when you go to war and that's happening, there's no way around it that you can't look at it and say, I should be dead when, people around you are dying. Like this could easily be me. I should be dead. Am I still here? I mean, you gotta think like that. I think you walk around thinking you're a ghost or thinking whatever, but there's got to be something in your mind that, especially when, like you said, when they needed a voice and they didn't really have one, they weren't the same person that they left as. Like, or is that
right? But everybody thinks they are. Everybody. Oh, he was just over. He was just away for a year. No,
Yeah,
he was.
yeah.
Shout out. Actually, you are still working at the quarry, and he went to work, saw some stuff. He's coming back. He's not the same person. You need to.
That person's dead.
Be.
That person is dead in a sense.
Yeah,
that person is dead.
Right.
And shout out to all our military out there. Thank you for your service. I'd just like to say that out loud right now. And yeah, it's got to be a tough thing. I can't relate. I was never in the service. Doc, I don't believe was either.
No.
So
no.
Something I can't relate to. So if I'm speaking out of turn here, let me know. I'm just trying to be your voice here, and I feel like it would. I feel like I would feel like that, but once again, I didn't experience.
And
you tell me to be like,
who knows?
No, they could be like this. Nothing like that.
Maybe it had nothing to do with that. But that's what's so fun about talking.
Exactly. So that's where we're at with symbolism, I think, on that. And I think like this footsteps, the plane that carried them, the ship or whatever it was, right? Mm-hmm. They never really showed it. Did they show it? They never showed it.
No, it was under the
blanket, and then the blanket was gone. Yeah, tarp. Then it was gone.
Yep.
Yeah. So whatever that was.
At the final scene, there was just the tarp. There was
just tarp, exactly. So that's what I mean. You never saw it. So whatever it was, right. I don't know if it was a spaceship, but then again, a smart move by Rod there, right there, because they didn't know what it would look like.
Exactly. Yep. And I think what in something that I read that he didn't want it shown because it's that whole suspend the belief.
Disbelief.
It's the whole you're not seeing the shark in Jaws until 3/4 of the way through the movie. Yeah, well, that's a whole other story for another day.
Yeah, that music was enough of a shark. Enough about Jaws.
And you better do something about this one because I don't intend to go through that hell again.
Jeez, how many times are we gonna reference Jaws?
Well, like maybe twice. You have Quint in the background, so I had to.
I do. All right, so I guess that's our symbolism. So what do you think we go into next? What would you like to go into? What do you think we go to influences?
Yeah, I think that's our usual go-to. Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
You are the bad influences.
There's so many. I went an easy route here, but if you think about it, it's pretty interesting. Is Final Destination. And there's so many things, alternative realities, like you were saying in the beginning of the show, Buck. But there is some knowledge and I know there's a whole franchise. I've seen the first 2 or 3 maybe, but there is some realization as to what's going on. And I don't want to say like a butterfly effect type of thing, but
or that movie, Butterfly,
or that movie. But it's that whole timeline. Like, hey, if you didn't do A, B, and C, then D would never happen. And that's it's there are a lot of movies like it. I came up with we'll say the original Final Destination.
All right. Well, I mean, I went on that one too with some of them. I went with you know, obviously I'll go back to Mr. Destiny. Same thing, right? I mean, again, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do one again.
In
Peggy Sue
fact, I
got
watched that. Me and Mrs. Doc watched that the other night based on your recommendation.
Nothing else that follows it. Instead of missing the baseball, however, you hit it. Then you became a hero, married the prom queen, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, good. It's pretty good,
I
huh?
haven't seen it in a while. It's the only good thing that Jim Belushi ever did.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Mr. Destiny, Peggy Sue got married again. Obviously, we talked about that. Those ones that are just that. If you did one little thing different, sure. But I went a different route just for the other people that might be thinking that these people are crazy, right? Like, say the nurse or whoever might be crazy, right? When you look at like Fight Club or Beautiful Mind or something like that.
Fight Club, yeah.
Yeah.
You got it. No.
Do not fuck with us.
Say it.
Obviously, this wasn't about that. Nobody was schizophrenic or anything like that in this. But if you watch this, what if you watched it and went, oh, how cool would it be if that guy laying in bed actually just made up that whole thing? Like if he didn't go away, right? I mean, I'm thinking of things that people might have got triggered on to be an influence.
Yeah, right.
Because I could see somebody like me watching
or maybe
it.
he made it all up.
Exactly. Like maybe the nurse did all of a sudden and was like, you look and she's at the end of the bar when they were in the bar. You know what I mean? Watching these people.
Yeah, right.
Right. But I mean, I'm saying like that's so somebody's head could go. That's why I didn't.
Sure.
I don't think it's about that. I don't think these people, that's what they meant.
No.
But I'm just thinking of like influences of maybe somebody might have watched this and been like, oh, like extending the imagination to make it real.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, that's why I just want to add a little bit of that to that. But that's it. But yeah, you're right. I think Final Destination, obviously, it says it right there. I'm sure there's other parallel universes ones out there.
Yeah, there might be a lot more sci-fi stuff that I haven't.
Yeah, and let me know because I kind of like those. So let me know in the comments below. Tell me a good movie to watch because I know there's like I'm a big time travel like person when I watch stuff. I actually like that.
Somewhere in Time.
Somewhere in Time. Is that the one?
Christopher Reeve, I forget Jane Seymour, I believe.
Is time travel possible?
That is a question.
Excellent time travel movie.
Yeah, there's one. There's a really good one too. I gotta find it. I'll find it. I'll put it up here. Watch. I'll do that. Yeah, the guy has a box and they go in the garage and they make something and it ends up screwed up.
Yes, yeah, it's
indie film, really good.
Maybe early, 2010, something like that.
Yeah. Really cool movie. Yeah, indie film. Like
we talked about it before, but anyway.
So those are our influences right there.
A movie we can't remember the name of, but it was good.
Yeah, well, it happens when you get old, Doc. All right, so I guess ratings. So our favorite scene. Wait.
Sure.
Let's go favorite scene.
He compiled all the best boner scenes, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course, we have to do favorite scene, and this one. I love the newspapers. I'm not going to go that route though, but I think that you could. I'm gonna say what you said during one of these. If we just saw the newspapers, this episode could have been like 5 minutes. Because that was a cool effect. Just the newspaper thing. It told a lot right there.
We'll tell the story. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite scene was at the bar when Harrington was calling his parents, because you're there, you know something's going on because of the opening scene, but Taylor's there with Harrington, or I'm sorry, Ron Taylor, the actor, is there with Harrington, and he's like, I'm gonna call my parents. You see almost him go ghostly white. And all of a sudden he's like, cool. He's having a beer. He's like, I'm gonna call my parents. Like, what? And and he just turns that ghostly white, and just the despair, everything in the actor did a hell of a job just conveying. We always talk about actors in this excellent Twilight Zone saying so many things without saying things, and I think that scene was yet another one where we knew so much was going on without a lot going on.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I mean, that's Twilight Zone, right? I mean, they never Twilight Zone never need to blow things up and do.
Yeah, but you had the agony and the ecstasy, like, oh, hey, we're back.
Yeah.
And then, wait a second, my parents don't know me, and yeah.
Mine's actually on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's kind of funny, but it's kind of the same philosophy. Is like when he first goes in and they see, there's two of them, right? And he's like talking about the other guy, and then the other guy pops up, right?
Oh, right.
Pops up. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, now I'm along for the ride. Like that was like getting on the roller coaster, right? Strapping in, I'm good. I'm like, let's go. Let's go. All right, now we got something. Like, what's going on here? I mean, that was the grab, and the grab got me.
Yeah, that's the hook.
Got me in, and it
got me. I thought the hook for you would have been the 30-cent beers at the bar.
That was a little later. That definitely. I was wandering off a little bit. I'll admit it. 30-cent beer. I came right back into it. That's why they put that thing in there for people like me. I think that's how smart. Like Rod and everybody around this was. They knew sooner or later Buck Wonder would be watching this, and people just like Buck Wonder.
30-cent beer. Wait a second.
And they're like, it's like the middle thing. Like you got to grab them, hook them, lead them in a little bit, lead them in, hook them again, and then go to the end. And that's what they did with the 30 cents.
And yeah, you can buy the house with a what do they call it? A sawbuck.
A sawbuck. Yeah, you can order from a catalog too. True story. They did that.
I know. I remember catalog. You remember the Sears catalog?
I remember the Sears catalog. I don't remember buying houses from them.
No, I was a little young to buy a house in the 80s.
Did they sell them? I think they did. Actually, I think I know somebody whose parents did it. That's younger than me. So we'll find out. I think Star Wonder parents might have bought a house from the Sears and Roebuck catalog. Back when it was Sears and Roebuck. One day we'll do a whole story about that. It's pretty cool. They're a pretty cool story. They started selling things on trains, watches, I think, on trains. And then they realized they're going to make a catalog. Pretty interesting story. But anyway, who the hell cares about that? Why am I going off on a tangent? We need to get into the ratings. Let's talk about the ratings.
We do.
Well, who are you to judge me?
Doc, you leave me off.
All right, ratings.
We love the ratings. Leave me off.
Okay, yeah. This episode was good. Was it great? No. The acting was good. Was the acting great? The acting was good. Rod Taylor was very good in it. It had a little bit of everything. It held my interest. I think you can hear from my tone. I'm not excited. I'm not making hand motions like I'm not excited about it. It was I'm going to give it a solid 5.5. Okay.
All right. 5.5 from Doc. I'm on the same page as you. I'm right there. I'm not really low. I'm not really high about it. I don't. This is a weird one for me because I want to give it a high one because of the concept that I love that kind of concept and everything like that.
Yeah.
But for a short episode, for whatever. And when you say the acting wasn't great, I mean, it's always, I know you don't mean it like they were bad, but it's always like, you get a script and it's like, I'm not going to win an Oscar with the script. I have to do my job, which means something though. It means like, you don't have an actor that's, they didn't have any parts that were this like dramatic parts, which I think takes away from me giving it a big grade.
Right, it does. There's not a Gig Young performance in Walking Distance or a Burgess Meredith like we've just seen recently.
And it's not the
in Time
actor,
and Upper
it's
West.
the script, obviously. And the script was fine, but it wasn't this character-driven thing. And so I'm going to go right with you, but I'm actually going to go a smidge higher with a 6. I'm going with a 6 because I really, really like the concept.
The concept.
And you're right. Yeah, but also it's hard to do that concept in 3 minutes, 24 minutes, whatever it is. So that's tough. That's a tough one. It was just kind of like, once again, like you said, if I saw the papers, it could have been a 5-6 minute episode of these people. They could have one conversation.
Enjoyable.
Yeah, they could have one conversation in a room and each one of them starts disappearing. And it would have been the same to me. And so that's why it'd be a 6. The concept gives it a 6. If it wasn't the concept and just basing it on whatever, it'd be, I mean, I guess everything's the concept, so that's stupid for me to say, but it'd be lower. I'm going to go 6. I'm going to go 6, but I'm there with you. It's the middle of the road. It's middle of the road.
Sure. Yeah. And hey,
it's cool.
A Twilight Zone 6 is better than what do they watch? Like Hanging with Mr. Cooper or something? Is that still on?
I'm pretty sure they don't watch Hanging with Mr. Cooper anymore, but I think they're on to like Family Matters or
whatever they're watching these days, whatever the kids are watching.
Hogan's Heroes. Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Yeah. No,
I got you with that one. I know that just went off.
They moved on to they're on Saved by the Bell now. They've all watched that.
That's the big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so those are our ratings. I guess that's it.
It is. Yeah. Well, we're doing a lot of fun stuff. We're doing Happy Heavenly Birthday. So if you guys haven't checked that out yet, we did one for Bill Bixby. We just released one for John Fielder, who you may know him from Night of the Meek. He was Mr. Dundee and Piglet. But if you can subscribe, hit the like button. It does mean a lot to us. We hate begging. There's nothing more than Buck and I do is hate for begging. But if you can kindly, we invite you to please hit it. And it will help us out immensely.
If anybody's still watching at this point, I feel like they should hit the button. I mean,
I think we should hit their button if they're still watching.
Yeah, I was gonna say we put them through enough. Just do one more thing to just put you over the top there.
I think we're supposed to say at the beginning because nobody's watching it now. But anyway,
yeah, I'll do that. I'll put the intro in. But yeah, Doc, no, it was fun. It was fun. Another great episode in my mind. I mean, I say great. I give it a 6, but I don't. Every Twilight Zone episode is a good episode.
Yeah, and we're getting into just we're 11 episodes in. We're getting into the meat of the first season. It's gonna be interesting.
I know it's gonna be weird to watch. I was thinking about that the other day. The actual technical evolution of the Twilight Zone. I forgot that happened. The cameras and everything, and the sets and everything went a little bit above what it was, and I wonder, watching it now, really dissecting it, how much it gets better than, or was it better when it was raw? Who knows? I mean, it's going to be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. So for everybody out there, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it here at the Triple Clowns. We are here at Classic Couch doing Twilight Zone, and we'll be back again real soon. Hopefully you watched our 5 through 10 episodes. If you did, if you didn't, watch it again and get ready for another one. It's coming up. Got a lot of things going on. All right. So see you later, everybody.
Give me the ball, Augie. Give me the ball. Bad dog.